Hi Morgan, I was misled by Petitioner. I want to tell my story and share my lived experiences. I also have had a history of stalkers on this channel, so I'm trying to be very vague. I went to a comic convention with my sister and her friend. As we were walking into the convention, there were petitioners outside collecting signatures for some ballot initiatives. And I was approached by one of the petitioners. He was a man, and he was gathering signatures for something that was supposed to be for women's rights. Like, I remember him saying it was for women's rights or pro-women's rights. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'd be interested in signing something like that. And so he started reading me the text, and I remember the first part, like, it sounded all good, like, oh yeah, this sounds fine, until it got to the point where it was restricting abortion access. And my mind immediately was like, hell no. And I know I said hell no out loud, and I stuck out my middle fingers in the air. And I am incredibly proud of myself for what I did in that moment, because I expressed that I felt something was wrong. I expressed that I felt something was wrong. Yes, I should have been more eloquent. Yes, I should have explained what my issue was in words. But in that moment, I felt like I'd been lied to. And so I'm very proud of myself for sticking up for what I believed in, even though it was not in the most eloquent way possible. I expressed with my speech, with my words, that I was uncomfortable in that moment. And I remember the bill was also, like, that didn't shut him up. He kept saying something about, like, restricting abortion access after 3 months, and about, like, protecting women's lives, protecting children's lives. And my brain was like, I was just so, like, I didn't feel like I wanted to engage with this person at all at that point. I know that, like, maybe if I'd had more time to think, I could have been like, no, this is not protecting women's rights. Restricting access to healthcare, it doesn't protect the lives of women. It doesn't save women's lives. It hurts women. But in that moment, like, I was done. So I disengaged, and I ended up, I don't know if I, like, walked over to this other petitioner who was a woman, or if she got my attention. But either way, I ended up talking to this woman petitioner. She was a woman of color. And, like, I don't want to be, like, stereotypical, but I felt very safe with her. Like, I guess that just sounds kind of ridiculous, but I just felt very safe in her presence. And she was, like, she was collecting signatures for this other ballot initiative that was actually pro-women's rights. And it was about, like, protecting women's right to abortion up to the point of viability. Like, I made sure to listen to, like, every single word of the ballot initiative, and to me, it seemed like one that I would be, like, happy to sign. And so I ended up signing that one. And I felt like she was a very, how do I put this? Like, she wasn't trying to mislead me at all. She was, I felt like a very genuine, honest, nice person. She felt trustworthy to me. But I just, like, I just feel really, like, kind of hurt by my experience with the first person collecting signatures, because I felt like he lied to me. I felt like he intentionally misled me, and it was a really painful, it was just a very painful experience, because I felt like I was being lied to, and that my goodwill was being used to try and oppress women, to try and take rights away from people who I want to protect. And it's like, I'm a woman, I use she, her pronouns, I have a uterus. I also understand that there are people of other gender identities who have uteruses too, and I also understand that there's some women who might not have uteruses, but yeah, I do support women's right to bodily autonomy. I support everyone's right to bodily autonomy. Like, I think bodily autonomy is a human right, and attempting to restrict access to abortion to protect women is, like, the most illogical thing that I can think of. Like, it's extremely illogical. And so I felt very, very, very hurt in that moment. And I am very proud of myself for because here's the thing, like, I almost never cuss. I just almost never cuss, but the fact that I jumped to using profanity, I'm like, shows how serious that situation was to me and my in my brain, like, I'm just so proud of myself for standing up for what I believed in, for not, like, how does that word go? Like, kowtowing or whatever it is, for not, like, bending over backwards to be nice. I stood up for myself in that moment. I expressed my feelings. I expressed that something was wrong. And I am just so immensely proud of myself for that. And so I wanted to share my experiences. And I understand that oftentimes, like, how do I put this? There are a lot of times that people might want to speak up about an issue but not be in a position where they're able to safely speak up about that issue. And I understand and I respect that. I understand that there are people who may feel passionately about something but not be able to safely say it. So yeah, I don't want to, like, delegitimize anyone else's pain. I don't want to be like, oh, anyone else would have done the same thing in that situation. Because I understand that being able to speak up to an extent is a privilege. But yeah, I do feel very proud of myself. And I hope you all are having a great day, and stay safe out there, because unfortunately in politics there are people who don't always act honestly. Protect your rights. Bye!